Hi Mini Makers, it's Heather with Running with Scissors, and today we are making this set of 3 adorable Halloween decorations, a ghost, a cat, and a pumpkin. This is your Mini Maker box, August 2024. Let's get started. Alright, so let's have a look at what we have inside. This month you're going to have these 3 wood blocks. This is going to be the cat, the pumpkin, and the ghost. You have 3 sponges that you're going to use to paint. You have your different sets of paint up there. And then you have a bag of goodies. And inside your bag of goodies, you're going to have some raffia and a length of ribbon. And you're going to have some wood glue. You have a small pot of yellow paint to go with your paints. 2 wedges, 2 small wedges. A birch branch for the pumpkin stem. You have your wood pieces that are going to make up your ghost eyes and mouth, and then you have your cat eyes. And then we have some buttons because I thought it might be fun to put a little flower on the pumpkin made out of buttons. All right, so we're just gonna set that stuff aside. You're gonna wanna make sure that your table is covered or that you use your pizza box opened up to paint on top so you don't get paint anywhere. And I have my pack of baby wipes and I have a pair of scissors. So make sure you have your scissors, and baby wipes are handy. All right, I'm gonna take my pieces out of the box. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint each of my blocks their paint color. So my cat is going to be black, my ghost is going to be white, and my pumpkin is going to be orange. All right, but I don't want my pumpkin just plain orange, so I'm going to end up swiping some white through it to give it some color. But first, let's start with our ghost. So we're just going to open our white paint, and we're going to dip the soft side of our yellow sponge into our paint, and we're going to paint our ghost, and we're going to make sure that we paint all of the edges. So now we might have to let it dry before we can turn it. So you're going to want to just make sure that you get all of the edges painted, even the back and the bottom. All right, we're going to set our ghost to the side so he can dry because he's going to need 2 coats. Everything will need 2 coats, so we'll just put 1 coat on each thing and then we'll start over. A little bit more to our pumpkin, but I'm going to let that coat dry for a minute, and while that dries I'm going to paint the eyes of my cat and my ghost. Okay, so I'm just going to bring these forward. Now the eyes of my cat, I'm going to paint white first and then I'll put some yellow in. So first I'm just going to pounce my sponge onto my eyes. You can also use the little sponges if you would rather, but you can use these if you would like to. But because I already have paint in my yellow sponges, I'm just gonna use my yellow sponges. It does get more paint on your hands though, because they're so much bigger. And the 3 oval circular type ones are your ghost face. Okay. right, I'm gonna come back to my pumpkin and I'm going to put a little bit more orange on my pumpkin so it's wet. I'm only gonna do the front. All right, so you can see I have wet paint on my pumpkin. Let me slide this back. I'm gonna take my white sponge and I'm just gonna pull it through. I'm not pressing down very hard. I'm very, very gentle, very light touch, just to get some streaks. You see what happens? Some of that wet orange paint's gonna rub off on your white sponge. But what you did is you just put a little bit of white streaks that turned like a light orange through your pumpkin. And that just gives it a little different of a look. Okay, that's all we're gonna do to paint. We have to wait for everything to dry. We have to get our eyes dry so we can use our sponge and our yellow paint and give the cat eyes some actual eyes. So we'll be back in just a second when everything is dry. Okay, so all of our pieces are dry. We are going to, first, before we paint the cat eyes, we're going to glue on the stem of the pumpkin because our wood glue is going to take a little bit longer to dry. So before we can work with our stem, we want it to be glued on very well. And glue takes about 5 minutes to set up and about 10 minutes before it's really dry to work with. So let's get that situated first. Okay, we're gonna take our pumpkin stem and our pumpkin and our wood glue, and we're going to squeeze out a dot of wood glue onto the bottom of the pumpkin stem. You don't need a lot. It's about the size of a small pea, okay? Just a small little bit. And we're gonna set that on top of our pumpkin and we're gonna push down until it's flush with the pumpkin, okay? Just like that. And I'm gonna keep it set up just like this, and I'm gonna set it off to the side so that can dry. Now we are also going to do our ghost. We may as well glue our ghost eyes and mouth on. Okay, so you'll notice that your ghost eyes are 2 different sizes. They're not meant to be the same. Your ghost eyes can go however you want because you kind of think your ghost is a little crazy, right? So we're just gonna squeeze a little bit of glue onto the back of our ghost eye, just that little tiny bit, and stick our ghost eye down. Now you can put your glue onto a paper plate or your pizza box if you want to, and you can use a Q-tip or a swab to rub it onto the pieces as well. But this is pretty handy just to squeeze out. Okay, so there's our ghost, and we just gotta let our ghost set up. So we're gonna move him to the side, keep him flat like that so the glue can dry. And we're gonna come over and we're gonna work on our cat. Okay, so now we're gonna paint the cat eyes, and we're gonna use the pointy round brush that was in our kit. And we're gonna dip our brush into the yellow paint. And we're just going to draw an oval shape in the cat. Let me lower the camera so you can see what I do. We're gonna draw an oval shape on the cat eye. Just like that. It's almost like a little half circle on each side, so it's like a flat oval. Just like that. So you got 2 cat eyes. All right, And we're gonna let that dry. Clean your paintbrush off. You can save it for later, put it in your craft kit. You didn't use it for very much. But we gotta let those eyes dry. So while we're waiting for our cat eyes to dry, we're gonna move on to our pumpkin. And we're just gonna lay our pumpkin down. Okay, so let's move the camera down here. I'm gonna take my buttons and I'm going to, now all your buttons will be different. They won't look alike. They won't be the same colors, shapes, sizes, and they won't be the same as what you see on mine because buttons are all different sizes. We have tons of buttons in all different sizes. But how cute is that little flower on top of your pumpkin? I think it's adorable. So we are gonna glue our buttons on, and I just wanted to place mine so I kind of knew where I was gonna put them. But I'm just gonna take my button and I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the back side, and then I'm gonna stick it down onto my pumpkin where I want it. And we're gonna repeat that for each button. And then we're gonna put the white one just in the middle. And those are gonna have to sit for a second so they can dry. And we're gonna move on to our cat. And we're going to glue our cat eyes on. About there. And then we're gonna take our ribbon and we're gonna put our ribbon around our cat. Just like, yep, you can see what I'm doing. And we're gonna tie a little knot. And I'm gonna tie mine off to the side a little bit. I'm gonna tie it twice so that stays down nice and tight. And then you got a bell, got a little jingle bell in your bag because I want this to be like the cat's collar. So this little ribbon is gonna be the cat's collar. And then we're just gonna tie this into a bow. Just like tying your shoes. If you need an adult's help to tie the bow, go grab an adult and tie that. And then we're just going to trim those ends of that ribbon. Okay, so make sure our cat's stuck. So there's our cat piece and we have our ghost piece. And now we just have to check on the buttons. Oh, yep, those are pretty secure. All right, so now we're gonna take a piece of our raffia, that's this stuff here, and it's usually pretty long, so I'm gonna fold mine in half, and then maybe in half again. And then I'm gonna cut the loops at the end where I folded them, because I want it just to be loose. And then I'm gonna tie in a knot so I have a loop, and I'm just gonna slip that loop over top of the stem of my pumpkin, and I'm just gonna tie that tight. And you'll probably have to do it twice. So like a double knot. If you tie your shoes in a double knot, just like that. And then you have your raffia all loose, and it looks a little crazy. And then you can trim your raffia so it's a little shorter if you want to. But I think I'm gonna leave mine just like it is. And so then you have your pumpkin. All right, guys, I hope you had fun with this, and we will see you next month.